What's up, Celtics Nation? Big day for Boston fans, and there's a lot to break down. So buckle up, because the Celtics are officially through to the second round of the 2025 NBA playoffs. That's right! After wrapping up a solid series win at home in Game 5 at the iconic TD Garden, the question on everyone's mind now is, who's next? Which team is going to stand between Boston and a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals? At this point, we're still waiting on the outcome of the ongoing series between two other contenders. The series is intense and could go to a Game 7 depending on how things shake out in the upcoming matchup. The current score in that series stands at 3-2, and one team has a chance to close it out in Game 6. But judging by how tight every single game has been, with battles going down to the wire, it wouldn't surprise anyone if this series dragged out to a 7th and final game. And honestly, that would be great news for the Celtics, because while we sit back and wait, our guys get to rest, recover, and scout potential matchups. Meanwhile, the other two teams are clawing at each other, game after exhausting game. That kind of fatigue can build up, and Boston fans know that any edge matters in the postseason. Now, let's talk possibilities. Say we end up facing the New York Knicks. That rivalry? Electric. The Celtics and Knicks always bring out the best and the worst in each other. During the regular season, Boston absolutely owned that matchup. We're talking about a dominant sweep. In one of those games, the Celtics even set a season record for most three-pointers made in a single contest, cruising to a 132-109 win. Another game was way closer, finishing at 119-117 in overtime, but the grit and fight from Boston were unmatched. But look, regular season matchups can only tell you so much. Playoff basketball is a whole different beast. Intensity rises, rotations tighten, and players give everything they've got. Injuries start to play a bigger role. Coaches go deeper into their bag of tricks, and matchups become chess matches instead of just fast-paced sprints. Speaking of matchups, let's look at the Knicks a little more closely. If they do make it through to face Boston, it's going to be one of the most anticipated series in recent memory. Historically, this rivalry has been loaded with tension and drama. The last time these two squads met in the playoffs was way back in 2013, and they've squared off a total of 67 times in postseason history. Boston leads the all-time playoff series with 36 wins to New York's, or 31. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about the fire, the emotion, and the energy that crackles whenever these two cities collide on the court. And if you remember that last series between them, things got a little heated. Tempers flared, and there were consequences. One player even faced suspension. That's what rivalries like this do. They bring a physical edge that most matchups don't. That edge can lead to injuries, and unfortunately, we're already seeing signs of that. The Knicks have had their share of health concerns. In their current series, two of their key players had to sit out stretches late in the fourth quarter due to injuries. One appeared to just be in pain, maybe a hard fall or a stinger. The other has been dealing with an ankle issue that dates back to the regular season and still doesn't look fully healed. If either of those injuries worsens, that could swing the balance dramatically. And look, no one wants to see injuries decide a series. We all want a fair fight, but it's part of the reality in this stage of the season. And if we're talking wear and tear, we have to bring up Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau. He's notorious for riding his starters hard, and this playoff run is no different. Take OG Anunoby, for example. He's been logging 41 minutes a game in this series. Jalen Brunson is right behind him, pushing 40 minutes a night. Then there's Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mikal Bridges, all hovering around or above that same number. That's 5 guys getting massive playing time, night in and night out. Now compare that to Boston. Outside of Jason Tatum, who's averaging 39 minutes per game, no one on the Celtics is hitting those kinds of numbers. Jaylen Brown's playing about 36 minutes a night, and the rest of the rotation is getting plenty of rest between shifts. That gives Boston a serious edge in terms of stamina, especially if this next series stretches deep. And you better believe Boston is dealing with its own bumps and bruises. Jaylen Brown dislocated a finger in Game 3 and has also been nursing a sore knee. Jason Tatum's been playing through a significant wrist issue. One of our key bench players missed 3 games in the first round due to a thigh injury, and he's still not 100%. Another guy still trying to shake off persistent headaches. So yeah, Boston's not perfectly healthy either, but we're managing it smartly. That's why it would actually be a huge boost if the Knicks have to go 7 games in this current series. Not only does that tire them out, it gives Boston more time to recover, more time to prepare, more time to be sharp. Now let's shift gears. What if instead of the Knicks, the Celtics end up facing the Detroit Pistons? That would be a totally different vibe. Not as much of a historical rivalry there, but definitely some intrigue. The last time these teams met in the playoffs was way back in 2008. That's how long it's been. In total, Boston and Detroit have clashed 45 times in the postseason. The Celtics have a slight edge there. 24 wins to 21. But don't sleep on the Pistons. They've quietly put together a gritty, scrappy run this season. After years of rebuilding and falling short, they finally broke through and earned their first playoff series win since 2008. Ironically, against the Knicks. That in itself is a huge deal for Detroit. They're playing with house money, and that makes them dangerous. Detroit even handed Boston a painful loss earlier this year. Back in February, they crushed the Celtics with a 117-97 blowout. That stung. Boston bounced back after that, but the memory of that game lingers, and it proves that Detroit is capable of catching fire at the right time. But here's the catch. The Pistons are banged up, maybe even more than the Knicks. One of their key players is already out with a knee injury, and another is sidelined with a leg issue. His status is supposed to be reevaluated around late April. But there's no guarantee he'll be ready for the next round. That's a tough position to be in when you're up against a deep playoff-tested team like the Celtics. Detroit plays hard, no doubt about it. They've got a tough physical style that wears you down over 4 quarters. If they catch momentum, they can start rolling, and fast. That's the kind of team you don't want to give any openings to. But the Celtics have the experience. They've been here before. They know what it takes to close a series. They've got the chemistry, the shooting, the defense, and when they're locked in, they're nearly impossible to beat. So whether it's the Knicks or the Pistons, Boston's going to be ready. The goal is clear: survive, advance, and dominate. That's the mindset. But if you ask me who I'd rather face, I'll say this: bring on the Knicks. Why? Because that series comes with more than just basketball. It's history, it's pride, it's intensity. Every bucket matters more. Every foul feels personal. And you know that the crowd at the Garden, both in Boston and in New York, is going to be absolutely electric. Plus, Boston knows how to get under New York's skin. Push them hard enough, frustrate them just enough, and they start to crack. That's the blueprint. Meanwhile, the Pistons, even when they're down 20 points, won't stop fighting. They keep coming. And that's a dangerous kind of underdog to face. Still, none of this matters if the Celtics don't take care of their own house. And so far, they've done just that. They played a smart, composed series in the first round. They adjusted when they needed to. Role players stepped up when called upon. And one player in particular absolutely shined during the first round. While one of the regular starters was sidelined, this guy stepped in and made his presence felt on both ends of the floor. He was relentless, hustling for loose balls, knocking down clutch shots, and earning recognition league-wide for his impact. The coaching staff trusted him, and he delivered. That kind of performance makes a huge difference in the playoffs, especially when injuries are part of the equation. And let's not forget, Boston's bench is deep. They've got guys who can come in, change the pace, knock down threes, or lock up on defense. That depth could be the deciding factor in the next series, especially against a team like New York that leans so heavily on its starting 5. If fatigue sets in and the Celtics can keep rolling out fresh legs with playoff-level production, that might just be the dagger. So whether it's about the passion of a rivalry or the grind of facing an up-and-coming Detroit squad, Boston's in a good position. They've earned that. But the road ahead won't be easy. Playoff basketball never is. The only thing guaranteed is that the Celtics will come out swinging, ready to fight for every inch of the court. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Boston Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla has ignited controversy with a striking declaration during a post-game press conference, suggesting that there may be a player within the team who is contaminating the locker room. The comments made after a disappointing performance by the Celtics have raised eyebrows and triggered speculation across the NBA community about potential internal issues plaguing one of the league's most talented rosters. Mazzulla, known for his usually composed and measured tone, appeared visibly frustrated as he addressed reporters. There's something wrong with the energy in the group, he said. It's not just about execution or tactics. There's a presence that's affecting the collective mindset. Someone's contaminating this team, and we need to deal with it before it spreads further. The cryptic but loaded remark left many wondering whether the coach was referring to locker room chemistry problems, a player's attitude, or deeper divisions within the team hierarchy. Though he refrained from naming any individual, the statement has led fans and analysts to comb through recent player performances, interactions, and even social media activity to find possible clues. The Celtics, despite holding one of the best records in the Eastern Conference, have shown signs of inconsistency in key moments, with some games marred by lack of cohesion on both ends of the court. That inconsistency may now be taking on a different light in the wake of Mazzulla's revelation. Players have yet to respond publicly to the coach's comment, but inside sources suggest that the locker room atmosphere has been tense in recent weeks. While Boston's core, led by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, remains focused on a championship run, whispers of discontent behind the scenes could become a serious distraction as the playoffs approach. Mazzulla's bold words may have been a calculated move to shake the group awake, or a sign of deeper frustrations coming to the surface. As speculation continues to swirl, all eyes will be on how the Celtics respond on the court, and whether Mazzulla's message was a wake-up call, or the first crack in a fragile championship pursuit. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.